Fast and Furious came out in 2009. It was directed by Justin Lin and stars pretty much everyone from the original film back in 2001. The basic plot of Fast and Furious is that Letty is murdered by a drug lord, and Brian, who's now an FBI agent, teams back up with Dom to get revenge on the man who killed Letty. Alright, we're on to the fourth movie in my Fast and Furious series, where I've been reviewing every single Fast and Furious movie thus far, leading up to F9 that's coming out supposedly in April. Would not be shocked if that movie got pushed back again, but yeah, so far I already reviewed the first three Fast and Furious movies, and now we're on to Fast and Furious from 2009. This is the only movie that feels like a true sequel so far out of the four films that we got up to this one. I say that because Fast and Furious is the only movie to have the original cast since the first film. In Too Fast, Too Furious, we just have Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson, their own story. And then in Tokyo Drift, it's completely different than anything else we've ever been given. So this is pretty much the first movie we've had since the first that goes in line with that Fast and Furious main story. I do want to point out that Fast and Furious is the first film in this franchise that has this kind of look, that being a dirty looking film. I guess they were aiming for a grittier looking movie, and from time to time that does work. This is probably the darkest out of the first four Fast and Furious movies, but that does not mean this movie is by any means good. A lot of other 2000s action movies also went for a similar look. Personally, I'm not a big fan when action movies look like this. I prefer them to use IMAX cameras, have everything be cleaned up, be very colorful. This film, however, is completely different. Everything's very dark. The colors are dimmer. The opening action sequence in Fast and Furious isn't bad. It's entertaining. If you're an action movie buff, you can have a lot of fun with this. But everything in terms of realism goes right out the window when they decide to have this gas truck that's on fire fly right over their car. That is the most unrealistic thing I've ever seen in cinema history. The first three films aren't the most realistic, but at least they have a sense of believability. After the fourth film, though, you can tell that from that point onward, they did not care at all about making a realistic film. They wanted the franchise to be a bunch of popcorn flicks, and I'm completely fine with that. Hobbs and Shaw was the same way. There has not been a single Fast and Furious movie that has not been this way since pretty much Tokyo Drift. I'm fine with that, but in this movie, my God, sometimes I'm like, what the heck were you thinking? I question so many of their decisions. Then after that opening sequence, everyone decides to break apart because they feel like there's heat coming their way from the cops. But Dom decides to leave Letty's side for some reason, and that leads to her death. Well, death. And I do wonder, why the heck, Dom, would you leave Letty? But finally, in the Fast and Furious franchise, with this group, we have a reason to care and keep watching. Letty is an important character, and with her death, that gives us a lot of reasons to care about Dom and everything he does in the rest of this film. So now we're back with Brian, who's an FBI agent, and that makes no sense at all because after Too Fast, Too Furious, he did not give any indication that he would ever be interested in working for the police again. So why is he an FBI agent again? I don't know. That leads into multiple boring scenes that take place at the FBI headquarters where Brian is talking to these other guys about taking down the film's main villain, and you just don't care at all. These scenes are extremely boring. I would have been completely content had they cut out all of these scenes and just instead switch to the important scenes in the movie that you actually want to watch. But hey, we do get some explanation for Mia and Brian's relationship, so that was a nice inclusion in this film. Oh, and of course, Brian and Dom show up at this guy's house at the same exact time. What are the odds? I guess the writers didn't catch that one. So what's happening now is that Brian and Dom, they're not working together yet, but they're on the same path to tracking down this guy Braga, who's a drug lord and who Dom thinks killed Letty, and that's where the film is going from here. Then that leads into this racing scene. It's another fine racing scene. It has its fun moments, but it's nothing special. It does have a lot of crashes, and there are some guys that you are totally sure just died. And Gal Gadot is in this movie. During my first watch, I could not tell if that was actually Gal Gadot or if it was somebody that looked exactly like Gal Gadot, but yeah, it's Gal Gadot. She's in this film. But after this race, Brian and Dom are friends again. They're working together. They're on their track to taking down Braga, It's kind of like Too Fast, Too Furious all over again. You have two guys working for a crime lord, but they are undercover. They're not actually working for him, and they're trying to take him down because he's a bad guy. It's almost like we're watching the same movie in the second half of Fast and Furious. There's also this scene where cars are driving through a tunnel, and it looks terrible. You can tell they over-relied on CGI in Fast and Furious, and in the year 2020, it does not hold up whatsoever now. What makes matters even worse is that the film decides to get a little bit more convoluted with its plot. First off, Letty was working undercover and working for Braga, and his henchman Phoenix kills her. Like, where the heck did that come from? And this main crime lord, Braga, who's behind the killing of Letty, isn't actually Braga, it's somebody else, but they never make that clear. This movie gets really convoluted by the end of it, and I wish they just kept it a lot more dumbed down. At the finale, we get, yet again, another fine action sequence where Dom kills Phoenix, and Braga somehow just disappears. I guess his particles dispersed, and that was the last we heard from him. I don't understand where the guy went. He's never in the movie again after Phoenix is killed, so what the heck happened to him? Also, Dom is by Brian's side, and he says, I'm not running anymore. But why? You'd rather go to prison for 25 years instead of being safe and possibly getting your entire track record being erased like it almost was from Letty? Why would you run when you have a shot at having your background being completely erased? I will admit I do like the last scene in Fast and Furious because it gives us a little bit of a taste of what we're about to experience in Fast 5. This movie as a whole is just okay though. It's definitely the most average Fast and Furious movie in my opinion in the entire franchise. There are a lot of plot holes, a lot of questions that I still have. The villain is hot garbage. The film looks too dark for its own good. But it's an average movie. It's not that terrible. It's a lot better than the first and the second movie. Not as good as Tokyo Drift. This is just a plain average movie. I'm giving Fast and Furious a 45%. Alright, for those of you who also happen to see Fast and Furious from 2009, I want to know what you guys think about the movie down below in the comment section. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you think? As always, if you are new to my channel, click the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.